fired up.
The snap, the put down, the swing of the leg. It is on its way. It is good! Cincinnati wins the American Championship.
Cincinnati, a 20-point win tonight in Kansas City.
Cincinnati is legit. Welcome to the national scene. Wes Miller and the Cincinnati Bearcats with the win.
And guess what? The Joe Burrow era is just beginning.
Welcome back. It is another episode of Pardon the Punctuation, and as always, I am your host, Aaron Smith, joined by my two best friends that anyone could have, Jeff Howell and the self-proclaimed best producer in the city, Ed Mayhall. And just like that, we're off. So, fellas.
Much better transition with music this week.
Yeah.
I feel so much better. I would
agree.
Yeah.
It was our most watched episode of Pardon the Punctuation ever, though, last week. So thanks to everyone who tuned in.
Watched. Yeah.
And those who downloaded later on or watched later on or whatever form you took it in at. We do appreciate that. But I don't know. I mean, you guys have anything that happened this week that we need to touch on before we get into the good stuff?
I just want to throw a shout out to my boys' football team. They knocked off the number 2 team in their league that had pretty much run the table against everybody, but one other team kind of is the best. But this team they played this weekend, they were not expected to win, and they won on a final play, little sweep to the outside. It was awesome. They were super stoked. And then we got one more game, and then the playoffs start the week after that.
Nice, Ed.
I'll follow that up. Yeah. So my son's soccer team played the number 1 team in their division, or their division, their league on Saturday. This team has not been scored on, and this team has not been beat, and they scored on them twice and tied them. So I'll take that as a win.
Does your kid play for
Don't. But they had this really sweet. Jeff, I don't know if you guys use it in football, but they had this really sweet camera. I think it's called like a Vero or something like that.
Oh, it like follows the play.
It breaks down in AI like kickoffs, corner kicks for them.
Those are very expensive, and there's like a
super expensive.
There's like a subscription model to it, but it's like getting big in youth sports and that kind of thing, where it's a camera on a tripod. It looks like a little orb or like a flat disc kind of thing, and it just it follows where the play's at, so that you can then. I guess it's probably useful for like huddle and things like that.
It has AI technology that does it by itself, breaks out like a corner kick or a kickoff or goal or something like that, so you don't have to go through and break it down yourself.
Jeffrey, we will never cut Ed slack on FC Cincinnati.
Or in general.
I mean, we can take a quick vote if we're going to give Ed some slack. All in favor of giving Ed slack? Aye. Those in favor of not giving Ed any slack? Aye.
Nay.
Nay. Aye. Whatever. I'm going.
Got outvoted again.
Yeah,
what if I have multiple personalities? Is that no?
That wouldn't surprise me, actually.
All right.
So I missed Brinix's first roll while I was producing the Bearcat brunch. So that's cool.
My bad.
That's cool. Missed that. She hasn't rolled since, so I guess she did it like 3 or 4 times that morning, and I missed all of them.
That's okay. They'll start doing it all the time soon, and then you just won't be able to catch up with them.
Yeah. Once they become mobile, Aaron, it's
over for you.
That's the end. Then you have
baby gates galore.
Always, like you can't just sit them down and be like, "I'll be right back."
And it is okay to get a leash for them.
Can't wait.
It's not.
No, it's okay.
But that was what I missed. I did make a buffalo chicken dip in the smoker though this weekend, and also armadillo eggs, which if you're not familiar with what that is, it's a jalapeno stuffed with cream cheese and seasoning, wrapped completely in sausage, wrapped completely in bacon, and then you smoke it, and then in the last 10 minutes you slather some barbecue sauce on there. Fantastic.
That sounds amazing.
Did I tell you I never got to make those pork belly burnt ends? The pork belly I bought still had the skin on it. I got to figure out how to cut that off.
Yeah, like yikes.
Well, I tried to stab myself, but congratulations on the armadillo eggs.
Appreciate it.
Well,
this is where you transition at.
Yeah, and Ed's totally whiffing.
I'm still posting the show.
There's an explosion that's going to go off now.
There's not actually, because I'm not going to turn. I'll turn. All right, there we go. Turn it down.
All right. You can't talk while it's going off. And
room for improvement.
Best producer in Cincinnati.
Self-proclaimed for a reason.
Yeah.
The Bengals played Sunday night. Last night. They lost in prime time. Again.
I hate when the Bengals are on Sunday Night Football. Only because I'm sitting around all day excited about the game. I guess if they had won, I probably wouldn't be as upset, but like they didn't. And so it seemed like all day I was just like waiting around, and then
so Michelle timed this one perfectly. Like we celebrated Parker's birthday on Sunday a month early because he wanted to do foot golf. So his birthday's in November, so it'd be super cold if we did it then. But she timed this one perfectly. We were off the golf course, back home before 8:00. It was great.
Well, the Bengals lose another one in the last drive of the game, last minute of the game. Another
for the
field
Elias
goal.
Sports Bureau, that is the first team to lose 3 games in the first 5, all on the like at the whistle there. That's good. Setting records.
Hurts.
Does hurt.
I know that you were blowing up the text string, Aaron, and you said specifically Tuesday night is going to be a banger. So I'm very interested in all of your hot takes.
So let's look at Zac Taylor's career trajectory. Zac Taylor is OC for the Cincinnati Bearcats. Has a stint in which he goes 13 straight quarters without a single touchdown. Zac Taylor leaves.
Put the caveat on that of who was the quarterback. I mean, it wasn't like a bad Bearcats offense. Gunnar Kiel.
Yeah, Gunnar wasn't.
I mean,
Gunnar wasn't bad. Gunnar got in his own way sometimes, but Gunnar wasn't bad.
But like Mike Boone was on that team, I think, right?
Denver Bronco Mike Boone.
Yeah. Moore, DJ Moore, I think. Is that a name? Is that who I'm
Chris Moore?
thinking? Chris Moore. Why did I say DJ Moore?
Because he's about to get traded from the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. So I mean, they had some guys on it. Like you shouldn't be going 13 quarters without scoring a touchdown.
No college team should go 13 straight quarters without scoring a touchdown. No college team, not any of them.
Right.
So somehow this quarterback from Nebraska lands on his feet under new head coach Sean McVay in LA as the quarterback's coach, which a demotion as far you should not bring him in as an OC because that wouldn't make a ton of sense. So he becomes the quarterback's coach in LA. They get to the Super Bowl. Cincinnati has to wait on Zac Taylor as they're interviewing, and he's apparently their guy. And so they have to wait to hire him. And in turn, they have to wait to bring in an OC and a DC and an entire coaching staff because they had to wait. Fast forward to now. Zac Taylor is the head coach. And I will say this, he got us to the Super Bowl. I think that's commendable. I think he has put together a fantastic culture. I think he has hired a fantastic defensive coordinator. I think his comments this week, when asked about how the play calling goes and if he's willing to step back on play calling, is a cop-out and bullshit. You can't tell me that everyone has a voice in what's being called offensively every single play. Get out of here. We can see you calling the plays, bro.
They might have a voice, but I think he's probably got them muted.
It's just, I think he's a coward, and I think he's afraid of the media. He's afraid of taking all the hits. But man, like, what even is Brian Callahan doing if not coordinating the offense?
Somebody said that he just sits in the booth and claps and smiles, like
collects a paycheck, apparently.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I don't know that I was surprised. It was interesting to see that he would come out and say, like, you know, it's a collective effort to call the plays. Like, you know, we're all kind of chipping in and saying, you know, whatever they're going by. You got us to the Super Bowl. That's commendable. Thanks, Chad. I mean, I think it is commendable. And like we said, like, I've been telling people this week, because they're like, you know, everybody wants a dog on him. And I think rightfully so, as far as, like, you know, the offensive production goes, because look at who your offense is. And then the production that has been there, not been there, whatever. For him to come out and say what he said is just like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to fix it then? If it's a collective effort, what are you going to do to fix that?
When you have Chris Sims out
Don't forget,
here,
he also said the play calling is a work in progress.
this whole offense at this point right now is a work in progress. When you have Chris Sims out here basically saying that your offense is predictable and not complicated and not evolving, as he's breaking down film as just an analyst, what do you think these other coaches are doing?
Exactly.
I mean, is it just that if a defense runs a two deep zone now, we just can't throw a deep pass? One a game? I think our offense was roughly 4 yards per play. Like they 4 yards per pass or something.
The stat I saw was like 4.31 yards per play, and it's like 30th in the NFL, and the Rams are the only team that's worse.
What are we doing? Like, what happened to jump balls? What happened to scheming to beat the zone? How do you not scheme to beat the zone?
I was listening to Pat yesterday, Pat McAfee, and I think he said the Sean McVay playbook has been figured out, and that's why, like, we need to find something new.
We have something new. His name is Brian Callahan. He is not part of the Sean McVay tree. He is the offensive coordinator. Let him coordinate the offense.
I agree 100%. Yes, sir.
This is what I'm here for.
This is exactly what I'm here for.
And while we're here, and I'm obviously mad about the play calling because it's garbage right now. But while we're here, I'm not here for social media fan gatekeepers that say you're not allowed to talk about the head coach.
Thank you. On this podcast, you are allowed to talk badly about the head coach, because
he's not calling good plays. Again, he's put together a good culture. I don't dislike him as a head coach, but part of being a head coach is also winning the games. Put your team in the best position to win the game. And right now, Zac Taylor, or a committee, as he's claiming, calling the shots, isn't working. It's not working.
It's a collective.
It's a collective, yeah. Kind of like the banks.
I mean, I will say that, like, not having T. Higgins,
that hurt.
Obviously, that's going to change some things, right? Like,
but other teams can figure that out.
But you've got what is definitely a weapon in Hayden Hurst, and they used him. They did. I feel like sometimes they forget Tyler Boyd is on the team. That dude was a monster over the middle last year. I feel like they don't go after him, like, go to him enough. I don't know if Joe Burrow, like, I don't know if there's something just like off with Joe. Him and Jamar are not, like, they don't. There was a play, and they hit it like a couple plays later, but there was normally where Jamar has that go route on the outside. It's like a RPO. And Jamar has like a go route, but then he always like they break it off and he hits him on like the back shoulder, like 10, 12 yards down the field, right on the sideline. And they ran that play and Joe threw the ball and Jamar was still like full sprint down the sideline. And it was like they totally weren't on the same page. It was just not normal, or at least not what we're used to. Not what we're used to seeing from like last year. Right. And they hit it on the other side of the field a few plays later. So, maybe it's just the fact that the scheme of the offense is so inconsistent and disjointed. I think that's probably the way that I would put it. The offense is like, it just seems very disjointed. Like they don't know what their identity is. They were finally able to run the ball. You've got, I think they were averaging something like between Pirine and Mixon, they were averaging like 6 yards a carry. And I'm gonna go straight to this series, and we all, but exactly, Chad, that he has not been what we saw at the end of last year, where he kind of put the team on his shoulders and was making plays and getting out of.
I think he's shook.
Trouble.
I think he's rattled. I think he's been bad. I'll say it. I am not.
What do you think is causing that? Like we have the offensive line,
not playing your offensive line and not gelling your offensive line in the preseason at all.
Well, it feels like they've gelled a little bit,
Sure,
since
now
the third week,
getting there. But again,
do you think he's still rattled from the first 3 games?
You're 5 games into the season.
He's also his entire career had to run for his life. He's had to repair an entire knee, and he's looking. I would imagine he's got to think like
spleen or something.
I don't know.
Appendix.
In
Appendix.
2 years, maybe as early as next season, we're talking about an extension. I think that I said this to you guys in our chat. I think he should just go completely off script and just start calling plays. Call plays from the huddle. What are they going to do? They're going to bench you, Joe? No.
I mean,
I wouldn't be against that.
It worked out in the movies.
I would be all for a game. Like, let's just see.
Yeah.
Let's see a game where Joe goes out there and goes straight Peyton Manning and is Omahaing at the line, or Joey Vottoing at the line.
They're not going to bench you.
Omaha.
They're not going to bench you.
No, yeah. What are they gonna? Who are we gonna put in? I don't even remember who our backup quarterback is right now.
Brandon
Allen.
Oh, Brandon Allen. That's right.
Yeah.
But when you get down to the goal line, Steve
said, "Have a great stream tonight, fellas. I grabbed a hat and put it on backwards, which I assume is necessary to chat here."
That's how we all feel under 35. So
we appreciate you
until you get there. You just don't know.
How about we'll talk about it.
So we all know the series that is going to get brought up and talked about, and really it was just a set of downs. You go to Hayden Hurst, who gets absolutely blown up on the sideline, and the guy's like, "What do you mean pass interference? Like, you can't just like shove someone out of bounds onto their butt like when the ball is coming to them. It's pass interference. It's literally the definition."
Yeah.
And so you get that, and you get the ball on the 2. First and goal from the 2.
What better time to run a sweep, Jeff?
What? Like, my thing is, like, all game, you have been picking up roughly 6 yards a carry.
Running it north and south. Just
handing it off. I mean, Joe Mixon was having, I didn't really look at like numbers, but I feel like he was probably having the best game he's played thus far this year. P. Ryan, again, like that dude, he's one of those guys that you just hand the ball to and like, just go get me some yards. They had already done a quarterback sneak earlier, which worked perfectly, which I don't know why it doesn't, I think analytics have ruined sports altogether, and that's a conversation for another day.
Can't call plays with your gut anymore.
No, like hand the ball to your guys and get in the end zone. But instead, you like do some silly stuff, and then whatever. I don't even remember what the first down play was. And
I'm trying to think. There was a game earlier in the day that I was watching. I can't remember which one it was, but a fullback lined up behind the quarterback on a sneak and just picked up and basically carried him into the end zone, getting the extra push from the fullback.
They've done it to Burrow before.
They ran that play. That's how Burrow got his touchdown.
Yeah, the touchdown that Burrow scored earlier.
Again, let's not reinvent the wheel here. Like,
it used to be the Domital Pecco play. Domital would try to punch the hole. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, the Bush push.
Do you guys know how many times Hayden Hurst has been targeted this year?
Not enough.
How many times?
28 times.
In 6 games? 5 games? What are we
5 games?
5 games.
Not enough.
Not enough.
So then you don't do that. You decide you're not going to run the ball, but you decide that the Philly special is what you're going to go with. And it got red and blown up worse than like a Pee Wee football game play. Like it was, I mean, Tyler Boyd ended up on his butt.
Yeah.
And then on the next play, I don't know who they threw it to. It was Jamar. They get it down to like back down. And my feeling here, and I know everybody's like, oh, you got to go. You're on the road. You failed to get into. You failed to get into the end zone. I don't care what analytics say. You tie the game up.
Thank you. As soon as they went for it and did not get those 3 points, I looked at Michelle and said, "This is going to come back and bite us in the ass."
Here's where I'll disagree in what you said, not in what happened. Because I agree, you should have taken the points there. You shouldn't have gone for it there. If they're marching the whole field and Mo is on their side, that big momentum is on their side, and they have gotten all the way to the 2, and they've driven, I don't know, 80 yards, 70 yards, and that has gotten them to the 2, and they've just been getting chunk. You go for it. But when you started that drive at the 2, and now you're back at the 1, and nothing you've done in the 3 downs prior to has looked like you're capable of getting anything positive, take the field goal. You have a kicker who is fantastic.
Doesn't miss, usually.
Take the field goal because you're incapable of calling a 2-yard play.
Well,
Zac Taylor, not the committee. There is no committee.
The play you go with there also blows my mind.
Throw that out of the entire playbook. They saw Pat Mahomes do it, and they're like, "Oh, I think we're going to try and do that."
This little like shovel pass, like
get it out of here.
It's the same throw that the kid from the Sandlot does when he goes out to the field the first time. He just,
it doesn't. I don't know. I guess there's probably some analytic that says that it is a high percentage play, but you've got a line that apparently
Jason Kelsey tells us 92% for the quarterback sneak. If we're going full analytics here,
I love that podcast.
No play that does it better than the quarterback sneak.
But my thing is, I don't know. It was very frustrating to watch. It was one of those things where you're like, this is what you do. And then when you go back and you look, obviously the last like 2 days, everybody and their brothers broken down the plays. So if you want to see them, they're all over Twitter. But you got Lyle Collins, who apparently didn't know which direction he was supposed to block.
I don't believe that.
Volson like whiffed on his block on the outside, or just didn't know what he was supposed to be doing. I mean, as a whole, the line played well, like the whole game. I'm not really gonna dump on them for anything, but when you're doing some cutesy little like, backyard draw in the dirt kind of thing, you're gonna end up with what they ended up with, which was a shovel pass that went out the back of the end zone.
Well, and clearly Baltimore has had this game circled since last season.
Yeah, that's true. And Lamar Jackson is not that good, and we made him look really good.
No, we didn't.
I feel like in that last drive, he looked really good.
Oh, we just didn't contain him on the last drive. And I'm also all about I'm here for our defense. Like our defense has like played.
Not allowed a second half touchdown the entire season.
Right. They've only allowed game-winning field goals.
And it shouldn't be that close with this offense. Not with this offense. Even with T. Higgins out.
So my question about T. Higgins, because I missed the very first play. Did he start the game? Like, did he play
He
it
did.
all? And then so
He
he
had
did play.
He had a
and then
nagging ankle injury all week.
because he's
And
been questionable all week in fantasy.
Right.
So I was like, yeah.
He said that he tried to run a couple routes there at the beginning of the game, and it just wasn't there, and he knew he wasn't ready. So
It sucks.
I mean, Mike Thomas had some
Mike Thomas is in great place.
had some man catches out there.
Sure did.
And I don't want to be like totally negative about what this team is doing or what they are, but like, because the defense,
you have to be.
the defense is there. That is a playoff, potentially Super Bowl
The talent's there in offense
heading
too.
to kind of defense.
Well, and I will say the running game did get going. It wasn't just Samaje Perine this week. Mixon,
Right.
14 carries, 78 yards, 5.6 a carry, including the shovel pass that got blown up on the drive that we're talking about. But yeah, I mean, as a team, they even 21 carries, including Burrow 3 for 6 and Perine 3 for 17, and Chase's end around that was 1 for nothing. 21 carries, 101 yards, 4.8 per. That's not bad. And it should have been a second touchdown because you should have scored just going north and south instead of all of the stupid shit you did on that goal line stand. Kudos to the Baltimore Ravens on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to look at that and say, like, you got to kind of tip your hat. Like, hey, they did what they needed to do to stop this circus of an offense or whatever was going on, this carnival act. That doesn't need to be. This offense doesn't need silly stuff like that. Like when I think it might have been on the Wright report where he was talking about like creativity. Like that's not what people mean when they want to see like be creative. Like move some guys around to different spots. Like put some guys in motion. We're not talking about Philly specials and halfback passes and
Flea flicker on two,
throwback crazy triple reverses and anything shovel passy. Like we're not talking about that. We're just saying like move your guys around, move Jamar to the slot more. Like what? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not an offensive coordinator.
Beat the zone.
I'm just as much of an offensive coordinator as Brian Callahan is right now. So let him coordinate the offense.
I agree.
Take one out of Aaron's quiver.
To your point, this defense has been special. I think that this defense has been very special, and that's even with Jesse Bates playing subpar.
Von Bell's been playing
very well,
above par,
above average.
Above average. If you're above par, that's
over
not
par?
good in golf. No, over par is not good.
No, it's not good.
But you don't ever want to say somebody's playing under par in football. Above average.
Well above average. It is. I believe it's a contract year for Von Bell.
Oh.
And if I had to sign either Von Bell or Jesse Bates next year,
mm-hmm. And you know who else is playing?
It's an easy decision.
When you look at it, the defense as a whole is just playing very well altogether. But you look at some guys, Mike Hilton, dog. Hubbard and Henderson, they get held on every
single play.
Snap.
Every single play.
And I know it's a thing across the league, like with whatever, but like it is criminal what is happening to those two. It looks like, when like Micah Parsons gets held, like you've seen there's some pictures of him being like choke slammed.
Yeah, like
and
my head's back here, but I'm still running. Like as I'm being held.
Awuzie's playing amazing. Logan Wilson,
dog.
Jermaine Pratt, that sack that he had.
Jermaine Pratt.
He jumped in the air and landed on him like I don't know, like Spider-Man falling out of the sky and then flipped him over. Which it's a good thing it wasn't Tom Brady, or that would have been a roughing the passer. But I'll talk about that later. Dax Hill looked. I mean, there was a tackle he made that was pretty good over the middle. I don't know really how much play how many snaps he's getting, but you can go up and down really this whole list of defensive players,
and that's
say
without
something
DJ Reader,
right? And he'll be coming back in a couple weeks,
not soon enough,
right?
But
Tupa's
Tupa's been good in his stead.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that the defense has been is sorely missing him. They're missing him, but it's not like horrendous.
I will say, I think that I don't know what H/T means.
Yeah, I don't understand that one, Chad.
Hello too. I don't know.
Hello.
I guess special teams. I think it's time. I think it's time to say goodbye to yesterday. I know it's hard to say goodbye to yesterday, but I think it's time. And it's time to move on from former Bearcat Kevin Huber.
Well, you know why they haven't?
No, I honestly don't know why they haven't, because
it came out at the beginning of the year that he was the best holder for Evan McPherson.
Okay, let's work on that. Figure it out. Sometimes you lose a long snapper.
Look, here's the thing. You can't
hat tip. Talking golf.
Oh, good job. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Steve, yeah. They don't know what a hat tip is. Their hats are backwards.
You're not wrong.
Right.
Not wrong, Steven.
Can't do that. You can't have 30-yard punts in the NFL.
No, you can't. No.
And
can you sign just a holder?
I mean, he averaged
waste a roster spot.
on four punts. He averaged 38 and a half yards. I mean, he did have a long of 51. The other thing though is I didn't really think, in the preseason, I didn't think Chrisman averaged more than a couple yards longer than Huber did in the preseason. So yeah,
that's what Geoff is saying. Chrisman wasn't very far off in holding in camp compared to Hubert.
Well, that's the holding part. I'm talking about the distance in his punts.
Oh, I apologize.
His average punt, I think, was only maybe a yard or two longer. I don't know, but you got to you got to go find something to fix that.
Yeah, that's true.
So now you've lost 3 games by under 3 points.
Aaron predicted 5 losses this year.
Thanks,
I believe.
sir.
I'm just saying there's only 2 more left they can lose.
I mean, I predicted 6 losses. I said
Jeff has 3.
6. So
you weren't far off either. Come on now.
I think I said 4. So I'm
there.
So.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Ed's really back against the wall right now.
Really back against the wall right now. It's with the Kansas City.
Amongst many other teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're sitting at 2-3, and you don't have a bye until week. What are we at? Week.
I think they have
6, 7,
they have 6 more games until their bye,
9,
don't they? 5 more games.
4 more games.
Good question, Crypt Keeper. I'm not sure.
Week 10. How many times have the Bengals won when Chris Collinsworth is calling the game? Not many.
There has to be a stat out there for that somewhere.
Not many. You have 4 more games though, Jeff, if you're looking.
Yeah.
You have the at New Orleans, host the Falcons, who very well may be Desmond Ridder led Falcons at that point. Go to Cleveland.
So you could face Dalton, then
host
potentially
Carolina.
Ridder, and so it's going to be Dalton,
all
maybe
backups.
Ridder, Mariota, then Jacoby Brissett, and then I don't even know who's
Baker's backup. Isn't it the Lego firefighter, the guy who used to be the Jets quarterback?
But they just lost their head coach, right?
Yes.
And the side note, did you see the stat about that?
$40 million.
That he, for the next 48 months, he'll be collecting a paycheck of $834,000 a month.
Be nice.
It said being a fired NFL coach is the best job in the world.
How do I get an NFL coach job?
And then you come off that and you're playing the Steelers. And that could be any host of quarterbacks there.
It's not going to be Kenny Pickett if he's trying to fight people.
And then they're into that there.
Then the Titans, and then you got the Chiefs. So really, like five of the next 6 games,
your next 4 are winnable games.
Yeah, they are.
Well,
Andy Dalton, Mariota or Ritter, Jacoby Brissett, and Mayfield or the Lego firefighter. I can't remember his name. The New York Jets old quarterback.
I do remember after they lost to the Cowboys, we said that if they were 6-3 at a minimum going into their bye week, that we would feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, feeling riding pretty high. You still could do it.
It's very possible.
Sam Darnold, thank you. The Lego firefighter is Sam Darnold.
All right. So as far as that prediction goes of being 6-3 going into the bye week, they are certainly backs against the wall for that. I don't think you want to go in 5-4 would be your other option, or
I can't believe how many backup quarterbacks we're going to have faced before a bye week.
A lot.
Yeah. Although, you know what? The Cowboys with Cooper Rush,
he might be the new starter.
I mean, you're not gonna start him over Dak if Dak's healthy, just because they're paying him like a lot. So that's just how those things work. But I don't know. I would hope that we can win the next 4 games into the bye.
I would hope so. What else do you want to see out of this team, though? At this point, do you at this point right now, as things currently stand, before getting to 6-3, if that's even something that's possible, who knows? But are you feeling good about this team right now?
No,
I'm like lukewarm.
Really?
So what can be done to make you feel better about this team as early as next week?
I don't know if like next week can really, like, if it's one of those things where like 1 week all of a sudden I can be like, all right, like, I mean, if they come out and they score, like, they put up 40 points on the Saints, like, they start mixing some deep balls in more than once a game. I don't know, like. But really, let's just win, and let's win comfortably. This defense is a defense that's going to give you can't just leave them out on the field because you're going 3 and out. Right? Like, you can't. I mean, the beginning of the game, Jeff says, I want to see them have some patience. I know we want to be explosive, but you got to take the short passes and run plays when given to you. I would agree with that.
It goes back to what you said earlier, Jeff. Put Chase in, some short distance plays. Let him get a little.
But if you're dinking and dunking, you have to be able to break tackles. You have to be able to death by many cuts, right? You have to be able to turn those small plays into something more than what they turned it into. It was like catch, tackle, catch, tackle, catch, tackle. And we played into the zone as opposed to exposing the zone, beating the zone. Yeah. And if people are going to continue to throw the zone at you, if you can beat the zone dinking and dunking, it will eventually open up. They're going to get away from the zone and open up to where you can air out the ball. Or, hell, keep running it north and south because that was working really well against the zone.
Crypt Keeper brings up a good point. No more razzle-dazzle in the play calling, like we said earlier. Like, we don't mean creative, like, plays that are these, like...
The annexation of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, like, goofy. Like, we're not talking goofy, like...
Statue of Liberty play.
It goes also back to, like, the whole, like, I think analytics are stupid. But, like... no more of this goofy stuff. Like, just run the plays that you are comfortable with, that are going to work. If you
Tyler Boyd,
like short stuff that are there, use Tyler Boyd.
Where has he been? Like, I think he was targeted 3 times.
It's like they forgot he's on the team.
Again, if T. Higgins goes down, it should open things up for
Look,
Tyler Boyd.
I realize a lot of people are stuck on like Jamar Chase, right? We all know he's a great receiver. He's drawing double and triple teams. Scheme him open. Either scheme him open, because it can be done. I've seen other teams scheme their guys open. You can do it too.
Jefferson.
Right. You can do it too. Devontae Adams gets schemed open. They throw him the ball and let him make a play.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do some of these things. You don't have to force the ball into Chase. Like, you don't have to force that.
Or check it down to Hayden Hurst, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. If he's back, I understand.
Right, if he's back, but like they've got some dudes.
Mike Thomas is on the team for a fucking reason, right? Like,
yeah.
Tyler Boyd was targeted 4 times. Mike Thomas was targeted 3 times.
Hayden Hurst was targeted
7 times.
Okay.
Caught 6.
And hey, by the way, I also want to take a moment to pat this show on the back because we were all huge Hayden Hurst guys right off the rip.
That
big body tight end.
I saw a meme that had Hayden Hurst with his reach over the end zone, and then had right underneath it had Michael Jordan with all the Monstars hanging on him as his arm stretches out and dunks the ball for the final Space Jam points.
Thanks for sharing that one.
Like, I love what Hayden Hurst has brought as far as like the intensity on the field, but I feel like he's probably also like the same kind of like hype guy in the locker room too. I know that we don't see like a whole lot of stuff in the locker room kind of things or like whatever, but like he strikes me as that kind of guy. When he gets up and he's screaming so much, like his face turns purple after like a short.
When you hear him say that Cincinnati is a dream come true, who has ever said that about Cincinnati?
Right. Like, I landed here and this is where I've always wanted to be.
A 6-year vet, I believe he is now. 6-7 years.
I knew that he had been drafted by the Ravens. I did not realize until this week that he was their number 1 pick that year. He was drafted
same draft as Mark Andrews.
Yeah, he was picked ahead of Lamar Jackson.
I think he was like 20. He was old when he was drafted, like 24.
They had 2 picks in the first round, and they took him first and then took Lamar Jackson next.
Well, they took Lamar with the last pick of the draft, if I'm not mistaken.
And then the first round, you mean?
Yeah.
And then they took Mark Andrews later in that draft.
Yeah, they traded up to get Lamar just to make sure that they could get that 5th-year option on him, which obviously that worked out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know. I'm in like a cautiously optimistic kind of space. Like they look.
You just made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good team. If they can just work through the schemes, and I know like Aaron said it a lot, whether it was just in DMs or on Twitter or whatever, but like, and everybody's saying it. Zach, you're a great CEO and a rah-rah guy, and you've done wonders for bringing this locker room together and putting
this team together, for that matter,
making it a place where players want to come play. They want to be a part of it. The culture's fantastic. Let your offensive coordinator that you hired call the plays. That's all we're asking for.
It can't be worse than what's happening right now.
And if it is a collective, get rid of the collective and give it to your offensive coordinator.
I was gonna say, like, if it is the offensive coordinator, if the offensive coordinator can't do it, Zach, by the way, you can fire him and find another offensive coordinator. He's your scapegoat. If it's you, if you are the problem, then you're the one who's got to go.
As far as calling plays, I think he's good as a head coach.
I agree.
As long as he can get out of his own way and allow somebody else to call the plays.
Correct. Again, the coordinator is there as a scapegoat and to call the offense. I know Andy Reid does it, but you're not Andy Reid, bro. Andy Reid, you are not. I believe the Philadelphia Eagles coordinator also called his own plays prior to this season. And
head coach, you mean?
The head coach, I'm sorry, was also calling the plays, and he gave it up this year. And believe they're 5-0.
They are. They're the only
So-
undefeated team. Yeah.
So
That's going to
there's
be a
that.
good one this weekend.
I got Jalen Hurts in both my leagues, so he's been pretty good.
Solid. Well,
Um,
Ed, do you have any final takeaways on the Bengals?
Just need to be better.
Fair.
Be better,
Aaron?
Bengals.
Anything else you
Be
want
better.
to?
No, I think I got it all out. I think I'm happy the kids aren't here tonight because one sleeps right there, and I would not have been able to do this show very well if he was sleeping right there.
Going outside.
So
Fair.
goodness,
There was another game this weekend,
there was. I was
and
there.
it turned out score wise better for us.
Better for the good
Cincinnati.
guys, sure.
Looked like a
UCF. UCF came to Nippert Stadium.
USF.
USF. Sorry, you're right.
That's a total
I-
me move.
I-
Good job. Hey, good
have it.
job.
Even have it written here. South Florida came to Nippert. Cincinnati wins 28-24.
Good.
Jeff, you and I have already talked about it in our respective spaces. So, Ed, I'm going to go to you first. What did you see in this game that just what were your thoughts, your takeaways after watching the Bearcats?
My takeaway is this, and it started making sense to me after I think it was in one of our group chats. Every single team that comes in to Nippers, every single team in the AAC that plays the Bearcats, it is their Super Bowl. And they prepare more than any other team, like any other game on their schedule. And I think they're just that's the reason why these games aren't blowouts the way that we want to be. I think they spend more time on their play calling and on their tape, more time on anything for the Bearcats than they do any other game. And I think that's the reason why we haven't been blowing these teams out of the water. I know a lot of people are like, oh, we should be blowing USF out of the water, that blah 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 blah. But like, it's hard to do when you're the target on the scoreboard or on the schedule month in and month out. Now, with that being said, I am so mad. Well, I'm not mad. Sorry. I'm so over this quarterback conversation. And here we go again. Because he got to go play and he scored. He ran in a touchdown, right? I can't remember right now. Jeff's not paying attention to me.
No.
Whatever it was. Like, it's all over the internet again. It's Prater should be in instead of Bryant, and I'm over that conversation as well. We are not at practices. Chad's at practices. We're not at practices. You people on Twitter aren't on practices. We don't know what's happening there. We're not Luke Fickell's mind. Can we please just stop? And that's all I have about the game.
All right.
Aaron, you have anything that you want to like rehash from?
I don't know. I mean, I guess to address Ed, like what he was talking about. There's not a quarterback controversy. It's been Bryant's team.
Exactly. But sign on to Facebook or sign on to Twitter, and there's a huge controversy.
The coaches know a little bit about what they're doing. They made it to the college football playoff last year. And for those who reacted after Evan threw 2 passes the entire game that he was in, and said that this is why, that's also an overreaction. You throw a kid in there who's cold into the middle of a game that he wasn't necessarily expecting to get in. I know they talk about we prepare as if we're going to play every game. I get that. But you're still cold. Like, you're not in the groove. You're not working your way into a scripted first drive and then getting the rest of the game as it comes. And after you've seen some things, you're just out there fighting. And he came into a game that they were losing, and they won the game. And at the end of the day, that's what you want out of your backup quarterback who has to take over a game from your starter. That said, it's still Ben Bryant's team.
Yeah. I need to listen to you guys last night. Is there an injury update on him?
On Ben?
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume he'd be back. You
Because
have
you're going to bye week.
You have a bye
Gotcha.
week,
All right.
and it was concussion protocol. So,
Okay. All right.
with everything that we've seen lately with concussions, you obviously appreciate the team erring on the side of caution. He was back on the sidelines before the game was over with a baseball cap on, so take that as you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, that it's just kind of dial it back a little bit, I guess, in general. I know I was reactionary after the game because I think they should have covered. I think they should have been game in hand, well in hand, and covered the 27.5 points. I had them winning 55-10, I think was my prediction. Obviously, it wasn't that. That said, you're not going to win every game that you should win like that. This is one of those situations where South Florida has played a couple teams well, including Florida and Cincinnati. But Cincinnati played sloppy. I don't think – I know Chad thinks they played above average. And I said last night that I think they played bad. I don't think they played well, but I think that the game changed progressively. It got better. It didn't stay bad the whole game. Obviously, they won. But the defense came out flat, real flat. And I don't know. I want to see – I guess I want to see the defense react quicker to teams gashing them on the run. And I think that's become a bit of a concern. But again, I trust these coaches to do what needs to be done for this team to continue to put itself in the best position to win, and that's what they do week in and week out.
When you talk about the whole run thing, I brought it up on Sunday morning. So the first across the first half. Chad says he never said above average, so they were bad in spots, and USF played well in their game.
I might have to go back to the tapes because I think he did say above average at one point. But
Oh,
I thought there was a segment at the end for this where Chad disagrees.
He wants to disagree right now.
You can't just throw words into my mouth that I didn't say. I never said I thought UC played well. I said I didn't think they played terrible.
Oh, I didn't say well. I said above average. There's a difference between well and above average.
Above average is better than well.
I would disagree.
Or they're right here.
We're gonna have to put a hierarchy together.
If you were ordering steak, would you want it well or above average?
I don't like steak. We've covered this.
Well, that's another thing.
That's another topic
for another time.
My only point in all of that was, if you really go through things, there were points, especially the first two drives, where the UC defense wasn't good. For the most part, when you consider how little the offense was actually on the field, the offense wasn't terrible. They had 9 drives. They scored touchdowns on 4 of them, and a 5th one ended at the 2-yard line. Like, if you can be in that position, and then 3 punts that were down inside the 12. That's 8 of the 9 drives offensively. They have 1 3-and-out. And that's more I was talking about than, like, when you characterize, well, the offense was terrible. The offense was bad. No, they weren't. They just didn't touch the ball a lot, because USF had a good game plan and executed it. So don't put words in my mouth, bro.
Come at me, bro.
Again, I might have to go back to the tapes, but
Go back to the tapes. It's exactly what I said. What I just said now. That's exactly what I said Monday.
If you could find that tape, this will make a great TikTok.
it would have been yesterday.
They only won by 4. Nobody
Early
said
on.
they played above average or played well. The offense didn't play bad, as some people characterized it. They didn't play bad. They just didn't get a lot of time on the field. The defense played well in spots and played poorly in some spots. And USF had a good game plan and executed the game plan. It's not that hard. It's not like going to Lubbock.
That's hard. Oh, and He says that and then drops out.
That was well played.
And then he bowed out. So what I was getting at was when you talked about the run, the first half, they had 3, 4, 5, 8, 9 times they ran on first down and gained 5 or more yards, which is just going to set them up to continue to get first downs and then drain the clock, which was their game plan, which is what Chad has said on across several of his nightcaps and shows, that South Florida had a good game plan to put them in the best position to have a chance to win the game. And whether he said that UC played above average or not, Aaron will find out later, I'm sure. So when you've got that going on and you have the Bearcats not able to put a stop to that, they weren't able to get in the backfield. Luke said it in his press conference afterwards that the energy and passion that they normally play with just kind of wasn't there. I don't know, because the ESPN Plus angles are atrocious, and the camera work is not always where you can see what's going on the field. But I did capture glimpses here and there where it seemed like they were using double teams from their line to disrupt Ivan. So like I saw glimpses of that, but since I wasn't there to see the whole field, and there's no like all 22 version of the game to go back and watch. I just kind of assumed in my head that because I wasn't seeing him as much in the backfield that they were, scheming to stop him, and there wasn't really a lot of pickup from the rest of the guys necessarily as far as like creating the chaos in the backfield. They have had a little bit of issue with mobile quarterbacks. Gary Bohannon is a quarterback that has the ability to get outside the pocket, move, run, get downfield, similar to like KJ Jeffrey. And then like Kennesaw State, their quarterback was, but you're talking about a Kennesaw State team that is obviously like the talent differential there is much more drastic than what it is with UC and USF. All that being said, when we finally get, Chuck is carrying the rock
Chunk.
pretty well. Okay, you're still trying to make that happen. Chunk. Charles McClellan, he had 21 carries for 179 yards.
I'm laughing at this, man.
What?
Steven said, hang the fuck on. Did Chad pop on to say something? He also had his hat on backwards, and I'm in the fucking Twilight Zone episode.
I think last week all of our hats were backwards because somebody.
Again, I told
I
you,
didn't have a hat last week.
We're all over 35. You want to feel under 35. Again, you'll know one day, man. I'm just saying.
I've been doing this since I've been wearing backwards hats since high school.
Twilight Zone.
We all have.
And then to your point with Evan Prater, I brought it up Sunday morning on the brunch. I assume that probably everybody that's in here probably will at least knows what the brunch is, and then all the other Bearcat Journal content probably already.
And if you
subscribe
don't,
to
you better get hip to
BearcatJournal.com,
it.
which is a solid website to be subscribed to. It's not that expensive. I think right now it's like $1 to sign up. I think I saw that in the corner of the website earlier. But anyway, there's all kinds of information there, including links to all of the podcasts if you want to go watch them. But when it comes to Evan Prater, like Aaron touched on when he just talked about it, he threw 2 passes. One of them was a really good little pass that he made to Josh Wiley over the middle for like 15 yards. The other one he missed, not even close. And I don't even know if he was really just trying to throw it away. I don't know what was going on with that. But you're asking a guy to come into a game that's not garbage time, where you're blowing him out and there's really no pressure. You're talking about a kid coming into a game really for the first time where it mattered. Right? I mean, I can't think of another time that he's had to come into a game where he wasn't just coming in for a play. Here or there. I mean, obviously he wasn't coming into games. He wasn't replacing Ritter at all. So, he comes into a game where you got a quarterback that goes out. he comes in and they're losing. And he did what was necessary across the end of the game to win it. And so I put no weight on the pass that he missed. I think did he get sacked once? I want to say he held on to it awfully long and got sacked. But those are things you're going to see. And I said the same thing Aaron did. I know they always say like, oh, I prepare every week like I'm going to play. Well, the reality is you do prepare every week like you're going to play. You just probably don't expect it. It's not necessarily the same thing as being thrown into the fire because your starting quarterback goes out with an injury, your team's down, and now you need to be able to operate the offense in a way that can secure a victory and move on to the next week. This is a team that now has 18 straight AAC wins, 30 straight at home. Those are not small streaks. It's not something that's easy to do. Look, those streaks get broken every week across the NCAA. That's true. A forward hat is bad for lighting. Thank you, Chad. So those are streaks that get broken every day, every weekend in the NCAA. And
we're done right there, and that's why I threw it in right there. You don't act like that didn't even happen.
Nope, I'll come back to it later.
No, not just act like that didn't even happen. I thought you were done right there. Like
you blew it up. We are on
a pause
to 27 days until hoops. Go ahead, Aaron.
That's not the next thing on the topic list.
It is actually.
It is.
Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
27 days until hoops, gentlemen. There's 27 days until basketball tips off for the University of Cincinnati. And we haven't really talked about any of the preseason stuff here. Obviously, we know after last night, Arlington Page commits to USC, so he is not going to be a Bearcat.
Damn you, Mike Bone.
Damn you, Mike Bone. You keep boning us. Not in a fun way.
Come to money. That was Ted DiBiase's song back in the day.
Huh. All right. But Ed, I know
you woke up Steve's dog again.
I turned it down, Steven. I turned it down. It was at 30 this time. Your dog is a light sleeper, Steven. You might want to get that dog some melatonin.
This is my favorite ongoing joke I think we have right now.
Steve's gonna have to put his dog in the bathtub during the during the show.
Steven, if you could find a better sound for us, by the way, Aaron loves this sound. If you could find a better sound for us, I will try.
Now it's Aaron's fault.
Just watch it on your phone with headphones instead of on your TV, bud. In any case, Ed, I know that basketball, Bearcats basketball in particular, probably enthralls you more than the Bengals, more than UC football. And so I'm going to ask you, what are you most excited about this season?
Year two of the Wes Miller era, right? Like last year was a year that he had to piece together a team in what, like 30 days or something like that.
The Island of Misfit Toys. Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. This year he's had a little bit more time. He's some players have left, some players have come in. He has a little bit more time to build his own team. And we saw glimpses of what a Wes Miller team could look like last year. And I'm excited for seeing more of that this year, more of this, say UNC style of basketball, but I mean, really is kind of a UNCG style of basketball. And to show, some more of these guys that are sitting out here, kind of sitting on the edge, like, do I want to commit to Cincinnati in a couple of years, or what do I want to do? To show them, like, no, you do want to commit to Cincinnati. You do want to start looking at Cincinnati. You want Wes Miller at your high school games so that he can recruit you. And also, it's one more year until the Big 12 competition. So let's see what it's going to look like.
That's fair. I mean, what player, new addition, are you most excited to see?
I couldn't tell you that right now. I haven't really looked into all of that right now.
I'll answer for you, Landers Nolly. Jeff.
Good one. That's good. That's a good one. Yeah.
Number 2 would probably be Skillings, and number 3 would probably be Reed, Josh Reed.
Fair.
Maybe Sage coming up. Sage or
Sage
Finney.
That guy stays in the Monster Factory.
Or Zikpay. I mean, there's plenty of guys
Zikpay.
that you could have chosen from, but
I'm most excited. I'll go most excited. I'm most excited about Sage because I think that he's somebody that he looks like he's doubled in size.
Huge.
It's wild what they do at that place.
I'm curious to see if Sage sees time this year. To be completely honest,
that's true. I always like to pick those. Like, I mean, like Nick Martiner was like my guy that, and I'm still, it makes me smile.
Waiting for a breakout game.
You know,
I mean, that's how I was with Blue Smith when he got his first pass this past week.
It was like the first time since like 2019 or something.
Since 2019, yeah.
So
it was only 9 yards, but I'll take.
I mean, it's easy to pick the big names and be like, that's like the guy that I want to see, like whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's easy to do that, Aaron.
I named all of them.
I mean, the Landers Nolly thing was hilarious. Sorry, Ed.
Yeah, you're right. It was
just what it is. I mean, as far as basketball goes, like I'm kind of excited to see. I mean, we're gonna see right off the jump. What is it? When do they play Arizona? November 21st.
Maui will be fascinating.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Maui. Yeah.
So obviously, before that, we've got some things. I went to Eastern Kentucky for a brief while, a year and a half. So that's kind of cool that they're playing them this year. Then they are going right across the river to play Northern Kentucky. So those games, like
regional entrance.
Yeah, we'll kind of be able to see some things there. But really, like, are we going to see something a la UC versus Illinois last year? You know, like
essentially.
How many games do they have to win in that tournament? I mean, I think this has been brought up on a couple shows.
Winning one should be looked at as good,
as solid work. If you steal 2 games there,
right? Winning like, 2 would be huge.
So there's not even recognizable.
No.
Like if you look at him from his high school, like when he was at Hamilton, whatever, like
he doesn't. I don't even think he fits in his parents' food truck anymore.
Probably not.
He probably does not fit in there.
But he's also thick now, as opposed to just being tall.
That's the other part. That's one.
Exactly. So I mean, you can't teach height. Can't make that any different than it is at that point. So,
right,
making him bigger, stronger is awesome. But then we get to what has been talked about before, and we've talked about it leading up. The loss of not getting Arrington Page, which everybody can kind of, you want to start reading tea leaves and things like that on that whole situation. You can kind of guess that we're not getting Collier either.
He did say.
He said don't assume, because we know what assuming does. It makes an ass out of you and me.
And he said it in all capital letters. And then the guy from On3 that makes all the edits did some emojis underneath it that would lead you to believe otherwise. And maybe that will make him flip because he's like, you dime me out. I don't know. Either way, if this coaching staff, and I've had a back and forth with, not even a back and forth, but like Chad and I've talked about it, to see a staff be able to identify talent early on before it gets to the level that it is. Like we talked about, Flory Badunga wasn't even ranked as a individual when UC started kind of looking at him. Collier was pretty low, like compared to where he is now, was lower. Wasn't on the radar of a lot of.
I don't know about Flory when they got involved with Flory.
When they got involved with him.
Yeah,
I know last year he was not. Maybe Chad will jump in and correct me and whatever, but I'm pretty certain he wasn't ranked until at some point this year, and he has kind of skyrocketed up. That's kind of beside the point. The point being that they
identify talent early on. Yeah,
is able to identify guys early on.
Flory wasn't right. Good job.
And start the process. And I know I can't remember if it was. I think it was the nightcap last night that Chad was talking about. Like developing these relationships with players, and also developing the relationships with the players that where their coaches and their teams around them, these big AAU groups, they see this going on, and when because there are going to be other kids coming through these pipelines that are as good, better, almost as good, right in that, in that ranking of maybe the top 50, top 75
in the range. Sure.
And those coaches can say to those kids, hey, Cincinnati's looking at you. I think it was you that said, like, if a coach, a UC coach is looking at you, you're kind of like, hey, maybe I'm a dude. They're serious. Maybe I'm a dude. I'm whatever. So these are things that the team
dog.
There you go, dog. You can start to build this network to start a pipeline to UC from some of these places.
Correct.
So that's what excites me the most. Like, yes, okay, it sucks that we miss out on this because everybody, like, he puts up the pictures from the visit right after Jizzle James commits, and like you're like, oh, maybe, like, is that good? Is it bad? Like, it turns out
I saw somebody bring up a really good point about that, and they said that him putting up his pictures kind of took a little bit of the shine away from Jizzle, which I don't know that it did, but that they said that would be like
it drove some likes to his page though.
Sure,
and
somebody
that's
said that would be like Collier putting up like something last night when Arlington Page put up his commitment and taking away from his commitment.
Kind of did.
So
well, even that like don't assume thing kind of took off. Rose, it's nice to see these kinds of things going on. We haven't been in that kind of, UC hasn't been in the conversation of these kind of players as of, recent memory. So it's nice to see that. It's nice to see that they are getting those wheels spinning now, and not, like I've said before, if you go into the Big 12 and you get shuffled to the bottom real quick because you don't have the talent to be at the top, towards the top, be competitive in the Big 12, and you get shuffled to the bottom, that ain't good.
So Chad told me something earlier tonight, and I don't think he'll mind me saying this. It was not on the air, but he said people have to have a really good stomach for Big 12 recruiting. Like, you can think that you have the stomach for Big 12 recruiting, but it's going to start to hurt a lot often, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, because you're taking big swings, you're getting involved with, top 100 kids in basketball, top 500 kids in football, top 400, 250, whatever you're getting involved with in football, wherever that path takes us. And you're going to take big swings, and you're not always going to.
And kids are going to go elsewhere.
You're right.
Kids are going to pick elsewhere. And you know what? Like, if a kid thinks that another situation is better for them,
so be it.
Yeah.
Go take it. Like, I haven't seen it. Maybe I really haven't like gone looking through like everybody's comments or anything.
I don't know where you're going with this.
I'm sure that there are people that are out there that are taking shots. These are 17, 18-year-old kids. They're making a decision for, for themselves, for their family, whatever it may be. And now when you're talking about these guys that are top 75, top 100, whatever, top 50, all the way up to top 10 guys, those guys are also now with NIL stuff looking at money that can set up their families now.
Correct.
As opposed to, they're not necessarily leaving college to go to the NBA right now, or like the NFL, whatever it is, and taking that, leaving early for that stuff. That decision has to come now. And if there is a better offer somewhere else, I don't know. I can't fault somebody for that.
Just is what it is.
But like you said, you gotta have the stomach. Like, you gotta know if you take big swings, you're gonna have some big misses.
There's gonna be some heartbreak.
But you're also gonna make contact on some of those, and you're gonna end up with some good dudes.
I'm sure the timer's coming up soon, but I did want to bring up the fact that 92-93 were on the football field this week, and Wes is not only developing those relationships with the players to be
Present.
for the players that are present now, but also with the alumni. And we got to see Hugs back on the field. Again, I'm going to say it again, and I know he's under contract where he has to wear West Virginia stuff.
Oh,
because
skip it.
that's his employer.
Skip it.
It's his employer. But I will say, hopefully it's the last time that he wears the West Virginia stuff on the field. Just don't come back until you're retired if you're going to have to wear West Virginia, because I don't think it's going to be.
He's going to have to be in the arena to play.
I just don't think it. Sure, that's fine, but you don't recognize him as something Cincinnati while he's wearing somebody else's clothes anymore. Like, be done recognizing Huggy, and until he's retired and can come back here repping his CPAW. Just saying.
Well, I did hear there was talks about him going into the Hall of Fame at UC. So,
again, wait until he's retired, because I don't want to see him rocking a West Virginia pullover as he's accepting Cincinnati's Hall of Fame. All right, Ed, this is a segment designed
the finish.
Huh?
Jeff, did you hit that one? Okay. All right.
Ed, this is a segment designed specifically for you, because I can't speak about any of this because I couldn't care less. Jeff, I feel like you're probably in the same boat as I am. But FC Cincinnati and their 74 draws has somehow made the playoffs.
How's that possible, Ed?
Tell us what's going on with FC Cincinnati.
It's possible because they beat the Chicago Fire this weekend.
So they won a game.
I'm sorry, DC United this weekend. They
74.
beat DC United this weekend. Sorry. So came out and scored 5 goals, 5-2. You had Brenner with 3, so he had a hat trick. Acosta had the first one in the 6th minute, and Brandon Vasquez had it in the 53rd minute. This team came out on
stuff. They made the playoffs.
Yeah, they made the playoffs. They're playing Red Bulls. Yeah, Red Bulls. They're playing the Red Bulls this weekend, 15th, Saturday at noon.
How did they get there? How many games did they actually tie? More than they won?
I didn't know you wanted me to do that math.
I mean, it should be at the top of whatever.
It's
there
not.
Should be a record. The record is not at whatever playoff tree you're looking at.
I was looking at the soccerreference.com.
The record isn't there?
They were like a couple wins, a couple losses, and a whole lot of ties.
12 wins, 13 draws, 9 losses.
And you get like credit for those draws, right? Like they get points.
You get 1 point. You get 1 point.
I didn't know that. How many points do you get for winning?
Now,
2?
I will say this. I did see somebody made a graphic. Apparently FC is, and I don't know who the players were, but apparently FC is the first MLS team to have 2 players with 18 goals. 18 or more goals.
That's true. Who were they? It was Brenner and...
I have no idea who it was. There were pictures of them. I don't know who they are. But there's some stats.
No, it was Vasquez. It was Brenner and Vasquez.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Those guys. They did a good job.
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Vasquez.
They scored a lot of tying goals.
Now, hold on. I just give you a little background. We're playing the Red Bulls, the New York City Red Bulls on Friday or on Saturday. Both those games we played them this season is a draw at Duck Dynasty FC. I mean, come on. It's a good team. It's a good soccer.
That's awesome. T-Win just came up with a great idea. You wear like some camo jackets, maybe like put some like leaves and stuff in your hair. Like you could be the Duck Dynasty guy at FC and you could be the super fan. They'll put you right there in the front of the Bailey. Like you could do all kinds of crazy stuff.
What's that have to do with FC Cincinnati at all?
Because no one's doing it.
Because nobody's doing it.
This is your move right here. The John Cena. You can't see
you could do that.
You're in all camo.
Oh man.
Make it orange and blue camo.
When they score, you could have like a giant one of those smoke bombs. You can't have a musket in there. They're not going to let you do that. You're not the Mountaineer. And then you could pull it like it is, like you're shooting. You know what I mean? There you go. That's your thing.
I was at the game a couple weeks ago.
T-Win is a genius. He's a marketing genius. T-Win marketing genius. right there.
I was at the game a couple weeks ago, and they need to let people in there with muskets because there is a
you-
lot of skunks around that stadium.
You would go viral, Ed. Okay, and I'm not going to hit the blow up button, but I think we're probably done there. Do you have anything else you want to say about FC Cincinnati and their playoffs?
No, go ahead and hit the button.
I'm not hitting it.
It's a lightning round.
And Chad's even got a better idea too. You could have duck call hit. Oh, this has got to be a thing.
You could be the one that starts up the quack, 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 quack. I know you couldn't hear me. Over the sound, but quack, 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 quack.
We'll address this real quick before we start the lightning round, though. Joe, I believe that it is live on the Pardon the Punctuation Twitch not on the BCJ Twitch because we can only stream it to 3 places.
Correct.
So go subscribe.
I'll start the lightning round, and I was gonna start it with Hugs wearing West Virginia gear, and Aaron took over that, but I actually don't have a problem with it. That's where he works at.
That wasn't even a minute. You didn't even give him a minute.
He said it was. That's all I wanted to say about it.
Listen, Aaron touched on it. He has his opinions on it. I don't have a problem because it's Hugs. And if he's gonna wear West Virginia gear when he's there, obviously he's got to do that. Could he probably ask West Virginia like, hey, could I wear like the CPAW while I'm at UC being recognized? Probably, but I don't think that's really his style. He might not have any UC gear that fits anymore. I don't know.
Solid point.
But I shouldn't have said it like that though, because Hugs is a great dude.
I don't know.
Well,
candy corn. Do you like the candy corn or the pumpkins? Because I'm here all day for the pumpkins.
Because it gets more candy?
Because it's delicious.
Nah, the pumpkins are too much.
Yeah, the pumpkins are way too much sugar.
I mean, because my problem is I can only eat like a couple pumpkins, but I can eat like handfuls of candy corn.
Do you ever mix it with like the peanuts and stuff?
No.
To have like the payday?
And I know that most people, right there, Lambig hates candy corn. Corn, I love it.
I also love it.
But don't ever eat it if you get it in your candy for Halloween. Like, don't eat people's
no, you don't get
packaged
candy. No,
don't do that.
I'm going to give you a plastic baggie full of candy. Those get immediately thrown away. I don't want your hands on any of my stuff.
No, that's immediate garbage.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that one was real loud.
Sorry, Steven.
That was real loud. Good.
Okay.
Somebody switched them up.
Baseball playoffs. Are you guys watching at all?
A little bit.
Actually, or are you just watching like via Twitter?
No, it was on TV in the office today, but like muted. And so like I looked up a couple times, saw Nick Castellanos was having a good game.
That goes to mine. I just want to congratulate Nick Castellanos for making it to the playoffs again.
Oh, that's down there at the bottom. I see that. Sorry, Ed.
Because there was a tweet that came out from Caleb Hample.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, the Mariners are kind of a cool storyline. Obviously,
I like black licorice too, Lambig.
I love Jaeger, so I'm there as well.
Black licorice is actually pretty good.
We all have the same flavor profile, except Ed hates spicy.
Oh man, I don't know what this next thing is.
That's me. Yeah, sorry about that. So for the first time, I think ever, I don't know. I should probably look that stat up. AFC Wrexham will be on ESPN2 this Saturday.
Wrexham, I don't even know him.
Stop. If you haven't checked it out on FX, welcome to Wrexham. Ryan Reynolds and whatever the McElroy guy's name is, bought a soccer team in Wales
The guy who started or who
Sunny in Philadelphia.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
NFL officiating.
Yeah.
Awful weekend. I know that they typically, like, a lot of times you can, like, you're watching games and you're like, man, you missed that call. Man, that was a bad call. But there were two very, very bad calls that have gotten lots of attention. One being they were both roughing the passer calls. One was a roughing the passer call on Tom Brady, which was nothing more than a sack.
He got sacked and then he tried to kick the dude.
He tried to kick the guy, but that's okay. Just rolling him over is not okay. And then the other one, which was almost worse, and I didn't think there could be a worse one, was Chris Jones on Derek Carr in the game last night, where he literally took the ball from him and in mid-sack took the ball and then actually put his other arm out to stop all of his weight from landing on Derek Carr and had the ball, but that was all negated. And then the official made it even worse with his explanation saying that the passer is protected when he's in the passing posture.
That's a new rule. That's a new rule.
In the passing posture, apparently, are we just going to put flags on the quarterbacks and say, like, that's where we're at?
Can we do that so that when Aaron says that he got a sack on an NFL quarterback, it's actually real now?
I already did that, so it is real.
It was
like
real.
Football.
I did that.
Like football.
I think it went down the stats as a sack.
Make the sound.
Don't sell shit in Bearcat Nation. Just don't do it. I don't care if you have tickets. I don't care about your door hangers. I don't care about your cornhole boards. I don't care about any of that shit. Don't sell it.
Why does Ed's beard remind me of an old feral cat, or he fell in white paint? I love T-Win.
He's been watching all night and he just posted that.
The red season is over. I didn't want to make this an actual segment, but what are your final thoughts on the Reds? All right.
I'm glad it's over.
Blink-182 has reunited in their formal original trio. Tom DeLonge is back.
You couldn't find any aliens.
They are I'm pretty sure the aliens have come out as being said that they are real from the U.S. government, that they're UFOs and such now.
They said unidentified flying objects.
Again, that's what UFO stands for. So we're on the same page. Good job. But they're back in any case, back on tour. Not coming to Cincinnati. Closest they're coming, I believe, is Cleveland. Although Pittsburgh is closer to me out here.
Jeffrey, don't make me put you in timeout.
Whoa! They already have a new song that looks hilarious called "Edging."
Are you even old enough to know who Blink-182 is?
Yeah, Geoff.
We're all old enough to have back issues and actually care about this.
And beards that look like they've been dipped in paint.
Or a feral cat hanging out on your face.
Ed looks like the homeless guy that just hasn't made it he's made it through like part of like the makeover. He's made it through part of the makeover, but he hasn't gotten to the part where they give him like a haircut and like fix his beard up and stuff.
He's got the why lie. I just want beer.
It's true. They have not gotten to that part yet.
That's because I had gel in my hair today. I was in the office. Oh, welcome back to YouTube, Casey Neistat. Did you know he was back, Jeff?
No, but that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. He's making content again. He's living in New York again. So I'm pretty jacked for it.
Who's that?
Casey Neistat is
he reviews like tech stuff and just does like he's like an original vlogger kind of deal.
He does some cool shots and
pretty cool.
It's pretty good stuff.
He got in trouble for flying a drone. He got in trouble for flying a drone around New York. I think him and Ed linked up a couple times to fly drones over the stadium.
I did that over the Bengals stadium, didn't he?
One time he attached a snowboard.
Okay, and then I just wanted to get into the more Reds thoughts. Is Nick Kroll still the worst PR guy in the business? Because he came out and said that what happened this year was unacceptable, but basically expect more of the same.
You're training like a damn bum, you know that? Bum. A bum. You are a bum. You're a bum. And that's all you'll ever be. A bum.
Well, that hurts, man.
Bum of the week is Ed for not letting Jeff finish his thought about the Reds. Go on about the Reds, Jeff.
I mean, he was actually, I was gonna roll that into the bum of the week. I think he is the bum of the week, and I don't even know if it was this week that he said it. It might have been at the end of last week, but I don't care. I'm tired of him like opening his mouth and not instilling any amount of hope into what I believe is the team of my childhood.
What's he supposed to say if he's not being allowed to spend money?
Then just leave out this year was unacceptable, but expect more of the same next year. Like, just leave it out. Just don't even say anything. Like, if you have any questions about what's happening with the team, direct them to Phil Castellini and see what he has to say. He's going to say, where are you going to go? And you're going to say, well, look, you had the worst attendance ever at Great American Ballpark, and there were the worst attendance since 1982.
Ed's beard looks like brown slushy snow.
Are you guys about to start like a hashtag on Twitter, like hashtag Ed's beard?
I don't think it's going that. I don't think it's going that far. It's kind of a thing for T-Win here, and that's funny to me.
I can't wait until next week to see what he's come up with in 7 days since. Any last thoughts though this week, fellas?
I'm pretty much out of it. Ed, did you actually have a bum of the week that you were going to go with?
No, I didn't have a bum this week.
Did you watch wrestling?
Oh, okay. So
nope. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right, Ed.
Okay, that's fine. We can give me 1 minute. Okay, that's fine.
Well, you got to figure out how to put your face big. But
Jeff, thank you.
1 minute. Here we go. And go.
Okay, so this is really good. Jon Moxley signed a 5-year contract with AEW. Sounds like CM Punk is out in AEW. I have on my DVR right now the return of DX on Raw. It happened last night. I have not had a chance to watch it yet because I went back and watched the Bengals game. But I am really super excited about this. I don't know. I haven't looked at any tweets. I don't know if Badass Billy Gunn got to come back for it or not. But I'm here for it. Jeff, stop. Jeff. Damn it, Jeff. Shaking your head. Out. And that's wrestling talk.
What about the Road Dogg, Jesse James? Isn't he banned forever or something?
No, he's back
for PEDs.
Triple H is in charge now.
It was a very small segment, Ed. It's all the way at the end.
Hashtag Ed uses painter's tape to shape his beard. And that's going to wrap it up. That was Pardon Punctuation again this week. Thanks for all those who tuned in and watched us in the live stream. We appreciate your comments. If you haven't, it's a pretty fun conversation, largely due to every one of Jeff's thoughts. We love you, Jeff. T-Win coming through in the clutch at the end. But for my co-hosts, for Jeff Howell, for Ed Mayhall, again, I am Aaron Smith, and we will see you next week, 9:15. See ya!